In this video, we'll be making a tool board, also known as a shadow board. A shadow board is a very efficient way to store and use tools. It is often used in manufacturing, such as automotive or aerospace. First, we're going to need some things. We're going to need some cardboard, some foam, either 1 inch or 2 inch, a jigsaw, a tape measure, some tape, and a marker. As far as the foam goes, any type of tool board foam online will work, or any high density foam. I'll be starting off with a rolling tool board that my work was going to throw away. But these tool boards are simply plywood with a border, so I'm not going to go over how to build that because this is not a woodworking channel. The first step is to measure out the board and then cut some foam to fit. The foam I'm using here is a 1 inch white high density foam. This foam is usually used for shipping, but it works quite well for tool boards. The easiest way to cut this foam is simply with a jigsaw. And we're going to test fit the foam, and it looks like it's perfect. And the next step is I'm going to repaint the background. It's important to choose a color that's very bright and stands out. It's a color you don't want to look at, and that's the whole point of this, is it's quite noticeable when your tool is missing from the board. The next step is to cut some cardboard to the same size as the foam, and then trace a 1 inch border around the cardboard. And then after that, tape it to the foam. The next step can be a little difficult, is you have to find a good orientation of the tools that you'll be putting on the board. This may take 20 minutes or so to figure out what you actually want. It's important to keep some green field on the board, just in case you add more tools later on. We're going to trace around the tools, and this will give us a guide for the jigsaw. And the next step is simply to cut out what we traced out from our tools. It's really that simple. As I'm making the cuts, I test fit the tools to make sure that they fit correctly, but sometimes they need a little bit of adjustment. Go ahead and remove the cardboard from the foam, and we're going to do a test fit with the tools that we have. The 2 holes that I cut were a little bit too big, so I cut a smaller circle of foam to help secure the oil fittings. So the next problem is there are no thumb holes, so grabbing the tools is very difficult. So what we're going to do is mark out some thumb holes and then cut them out. I found that the best way to do this is actually with a router bit. You can also use a razor blade or a grind wheel, like a small one, or a flapper wheel. It's for some of the tools that are a lot thinner than 1 inch. They might require a little bit of foam behind them in order to be able to get them out of the board efficiently. We do this by taking the cutout that we use the jigsaw on and cutting that in half, and then inserting that into the original hole. I'll take the foam and then install it in the board and then do a test fit dry run to see if I want to add any more tools or move anything. It looks pretty good. And then the next step is I will erase all of the marker that's left on the foam. And then I'll use 1-inch drywall screws to secure the foam to the board. Usually one at each corner works fine. However, in areas like here that are really thin, you'll put one right in the middle. The socket sets are very heavy, so I put some drywall screws to help support them. And I'll be installing a glove holder. This is just one that I bought. And then I'll be putting the screws on the side to mount all of my funnels. And next up is the degreaser bottle holder. This is just a piece of PVC pipe with a wood plug. And then I added more funnels to the right side. And then installed a plastic bin that I had laying around. The next step is to mount a hanger for the creeper that I'll be using in my shop. So this way the creeper can be mounted to the back of the shadow board. The creepers are kind of hard to store, and this is a very efficient way to store it. The top of the shadow board was a little bit heavy, so I decided to put a shelf on the bottom to kind of weigh it down. This way I can store some oil and plastic on the bottom of the shadow board. An optional step is to make labels for all the tools on the board. You don't have to do this, but I recommend it. And this is the completed tool board. As you can see, it's quite mobile, it's stable, you can spin it around, it doesn't fall over. And on top of that, it looks pretty damn good. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and a comment below.